My name is Kelly Atkinson, and I am a teacher candidate at Kennesaw State University. Today I'm going to be going over an integrative art unit. The title of this unit is Exploring the World Around Us, and it's titled this way because it looks at a bunch of different things such as seasons and shapes and things that are going on in the world around us using a piece of artwork. This lesson is geared towards second grade. The artwork that is referenced in these lessons is entitled Po' Boys by Grandma Moses. The first component of the integrative art unit that we're going to talk about is the history lesson. The social studies lesson is also linked with an art history lesson. So the teacher would have previously been talking about historical figures that are very important to Georgia. And she was going to task students with talking about these historical figures to review, and then they're going to look at the picture by Grandma Moses. And they're going to talk about the geography of the painting and what kind of things lie in this geography as it is placed in New York versus Georgia. And then they're going to start talking about historical figures and talk about the geography of the places they're from and how that might have affected their life. And then the students are going to write 3 to 5 sentences about Jackie Robinson, which is one of the historical figures they have learned about. And they're going to talk about how the geography of where he grew up might have affected his life and just talk a little bit about his life. Students will be assessed in the social studies unit based on how they write their 3 to 5 sentences about Jackie Robinson and how they describe how geography may have affected his life. The next unit of study is comprised of language arts and aesthetics. In the language arts lesson, students will be asked to remember what a narrative is and give some characteristics of a narrative. Then, as a class, they will begin looking at the painting by Grandma Moses, and they will begin trying to create a narrative of what they see in the painting. After they do this to practice, the class will have a discussion about how to organize their thoughts and write a narrative. The class will work together to write down their narrative about Po' Boys on a long sheet of paper. Each student will get to write a sentence. That way, they get the feel of how to write a narrative. Then the class will be tasked with going back to their seat, and they will have a sheet to organize their ideas as they start to write their own narrative about a time that they were with their family, doing something together that they all actively enjoyed, and something that they really remember having fun with. And then the students will write their narrative, and that is how they will be assessed. The next portion of the art integrated unit is math. The math lesson is closely tied to an art project. In this math lesson, students will begin by reviewing what are different shapes. They will be looking for these shapes in the painting by Grandma Moses and identifying them as a group. Then, the teacher will begin to review what is an attribute. The class will all discuss and come to the conclusion in which the teacher reveals what the real definition of an attribute is. Then, this teacher will have a PowerPoint with different shapes where students will seek to identify the shape, the classification, and the different attributes that make it up. Students will then have a worksheet that they complete in which they also identify the shapes, classifications, and attributes, and this will be their assessment for the unit. For the art project, students will be given the requirements that they must have at least 1 triangle, 1 quadrilateral, 1 hexagon, and 1 pentagon in their creation. Students will be tasked with creating a creature out of geometric shapes. Students will create this creature on a styrofoam plate by engraving into the plate their creature. They will then color the creature and use it as a stamp onto a slightly damp piece of paper. Students will be graded based on them having every shape that is required and the quality of the artwork provided, as well as the creativity of their creature. The fourth and final part of this unit is the science and art criticism lesson. In this lesson, it will begin by asking some questions to make students think critically about Grandma Moses' painting, such as what do you see in it, what shapes, lines, colors, what's going on in it, what story can you get from it, and what do you think about the painting. Then students will start to talk about different factors they see in the painting, such as snow and water. After looking at the snow and water in the painting, the teacher will ask students how these factors and things of nature may influence and change their environment. The class will then have a discussion about different factors that might influence and change our environment. And then the class will watch a brain pop video entitled Our Fragile Environment to learn more about things that change our environment. The class will then give the teacher a list of factors that can change or affect the environment. For homework, the students will be assigned to make an observation of the environment around their house and a factor in it that may affect it or change it. Students will be assessed based on this observation. They will be graded and looked at based on whether they gave adequate factors and actually explained how they may change the environment. That is the end of my integrative art unit. Thanks for watching.